Living the Christian life is an adventure filled with unique challenges that await you. Many of them try to catch you by surprise, but that doesn't mean your faith can't be ready for them beforehand. In today's episode of Be the 25, we'll look at the strategy of faith preparation, getting your faith ready to meet those challenges so when they come, you can navigate through them with confidence. So stay tuned. This episode kicks off in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Be the 25 podcast, the place where teens and young adults come to explore how to live the Christian life in a non-Christian world. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon O'Hara. Come join us and get your faith ready for the journey ahead. Welcome to the very first episode of Be the 25 podcast. This is going to be quite the adventure to be on, and I'm so glad you've joined me on the journey today. You know, I've got to admit, I absolutely love adventure. And whenever I think of adventure, I often think of the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail, commonly known as the AT, is the most famous hiking footpath in the world. It's almost 2,200 miles in length and runs through 14 states from Georgia all the way to Maine. Each state offers beautiful views of its own with different terrain to hike through. And every year, 2,000 to 3,000 ambitious hikers from all over the world attempt to hike the entire trail either within a year's time or over the course of several years. Now, hiking the AT isn't what we would call a simple walk in the woods. Hikers sometimes have to climb over boulders the size of small houses or perform hand-over-hand rock scrambles to pull themselves up and over some mountaintops. They have to cross over slippery mud bogs and ford their way through fast-moving rivers that can knock them right off their feet. They have the weather to contend with as well. They hike when the temperatures dip below freezing or rise past 100 degrees. They hike through the scorching sun, the snow, the sleet, the hail, the rain, the high winds, and during severe thunderstorms when they think they are about to die from a lightning strike. And then there's the dense fog that quickly and quietly rolls in, making it hard for them to even see a few feet in front of them. And they hike through all these different kinds of conditions, even sometimes during the night. They encounter bear, deer, moose, raccoons, snakes, skunks, and strangers along the way. They experience hunger pains like never before, from burning 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. They have to find water sources from their maps, apps, and guidebooks to stay hydrated. They get blisters on their feet, twisted ankles, and other injuries. They hardly get a night's sleep in the shelter, tent, or hammock. And in the midst of all of this, every 4 to 5 days, they go into town to get a resupply of food and a much-needed shower, much-needed sleep, much-needed laundry services, and a chance to eat a big, fat, juicy hamburger or a pizza with all the toppings. Then off they go, back into the woods to continue on their journey. And they do this day after day, week after week, and month after month, whether they like it or not, until the trail is complete. Now, it typically takes them 5 to 7 months to do this. And when everything is said and done, the staggering number of mountains AT hikers end up climbing is over 500. The elevation gain made during the trip equals climbing Mount Everest not once, not twice, but 16 times. So you can see, it's quite the feat to accomplish. And God called me to do it. I had absolutely no backpacking experience. What were the odds of me finishing? Well, I quickly learned that each year, 75% of the hikers who set out to do this quit the trail. 20% quit the first 30 miles in when they're still in Georgia. 50% quit 100 miles in, somewhere in North Carolina. 75% have already quit before 1,000 miles in. There were even hikers who quit when they've made it all the way to New Hampshire or Maine. Now, I wanted to know why so many dropped off the trail so I could prevent the same thing from happening to me and to increase my chances of success. I discovered that their reasons for leaving the trail varied. Some didn't get in good physical condition beforehand. Some had wrong equipment or heavy equipment. Others thought it was going to be an easy walk in the woods, and it turned out to be much harder than they thought. Many ran out of money or ran out of steam to keep going. Some got injured because they started out doing too much too soon. Then there were those who had a very hard time emotionally dealing with being separated from their family and friends. Most just didn't know what they were getting into. And when it got hard, and then harder, they were tempted to quit. And they did. Not one of those hikers ever thought when they started out that they would be the one to quit. Matter of fact, many announced that they would be the one who would stick it out to the very end. But only 25% ever make it to the end. 1 out of 4. Now, I knew this going into it. So I asked myself this question: what will make me any different from the ones who quit? I decided to come up with a strategy to increase my chances of success in completing the trail. I knew it was going to take the help of others, hikers who had gone before me, who had the knowledge, the wisdom, and the warnings I would need to finish the trail. So I reached out to them, and I asked a lot of questions and sought out their advice. I learned as much as I could from them. I did some research on my own, too. I anticipated ahead of time the possible situations, circumstances, and conditions I might encounter and came up with ways to handle each one for if and when they occurred. Thinking ahead like this would give me an advantage because I wouldn't be caught so off guard because I had already considered the possibilities. I enlisted 4 accountability partners, Angie, Beth, Cheryl, and Lori, who would pray for me, people I could count on if I ever felt like quitting. I got ready as much as I could. Then I went off to hike the trail. And I finished it, every single mile of it. I made it to the very end. Were there times when I wanted to quit and give up? Absolutely yes. But all the prayer, all the preparation, and the accountability I put in place ahead of time paid off. I became the 25% who finished. Now, whether you realize it or not, you're in a very similar situation. You're on a journey, and it's the most important journey of all, the journey that takes you from earth to heaven. But there's a large dropout rate in your age group. According to the Barna Research Group, about 75% of teens in local church youth groups fall away from the church after graduating high school. And many fall away from Christ himself. It's true. I know of 4 other studies that show that the majority of Christian teens walk away from Christ, the church, and the Christian community. Most Christian teens and young adults don't ever think they'll be the ones who'll walk away, but the majority of them do. What will make you any different from them? Will you be able to hold onto your faith after you graduate? You see, right now, your faith is associated with familiar faces and familiar places. But once you graduate high school, you're going to find yourself in environments that will make your faith seem out of place. Whether it's the college you attend, the military branch you serve in, or that new job you land, you will be in unfamiliar territory, encountering different people with different beliefs, different morals, different values, and different lifestyles who will question, challenge, and may even mock your Christian beliefs. Well, there's more one way to God. All religions are basically the same and lead to the same place. Truth isn't objective, but relative to one's circumstances. Religion is just a crutch and it's for weak people. Jesus was a good moral teacher. He just wasn't God. If God's so good, then why is there so much evil and suffering in the world? How can a loving God send people to hell? The Bible is just a collection of myths, fables, and contradictions. Why are Christians so intolerant? Abortion is a woman's choice. Marriage can be between two consenting adults regardless of their gender. You can decide your own gender identity even if it's different from your biological gender. Are you prepared to face such challenges about your faith? Your faith, everything you believe in, everything you believe to be true will be tested. And that experience is going to reveal the quality and the depth of your faith. Your faith is either going to thrive, barely survive, or take a nosedive. And as I've already said, most take the nosedive route, but you don't have to walk off the journey. You just have to know what it'll take to stay on the journey and to prepare accordingly. Jesus said in Luke 14 that if a person doesn't finish what they started, everyone who sees it will ridicule them, saying, this person began and wasn't able to finish. Jesus made the point that knowing what it'll take to complete a task is an important part of successfully completing that task. I found out what it would take for me to hike 2,200 miles, and I completed the hike based on that very information and that preparation. The purpose of this podcast is to get you ready for what lies ahead so you can stand firm in the faith to the very end. Jesus said in Matthew 24:13 that he who stands firm to the end will be saved. Standing firm to the end and not walking off is proof that you're actually saved. The mark of a true Christian is that he or she continues on in the faith. We're not quitters, regardless of what we face. Do you know that God often uses difficulties to develop and deepen our faith? When someone questions our faith and we don't know how to answer or respond, God just revealed a weak spot to us, something to work on, so we're better prepared next time. That's something to really be glad about. James 1:2-4 even tells us, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Perseverance is that ability to keep doing something, continuing on in spite of the challenges. There are going to be challenges in the faith journey, for sure, but Christians keep going anyway. Did you know the Bible encourages us not to give in and give up? Hebrews 10:23 instructs us to hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. The book of Hebrews was written to a group of Christians who were ready to throw in the towel and quit the faith because they encountered persecution for what they believed. But they were encouraged to hold on and not let go of their faith. And so we too must hold on. Let me give you 2 things you can do today. First, make the decision to get your faith ready. You're on a journey and you already know there are challenges ahead. Maybe you've already started encountering some of those challenges. You have a choice. Will you do something or do nothing to prepare? Only you can decide which it will be. One key factor in a student's faith degrading is that they didn't decide beforehand what kind of Christian they wanted to become. Determine in your heart what kind of Christian you want to be. What kind of Christian are you now? Are you weak, just getting by, or are you strong? A strong faith requires preparation on your part. If you choose to get prepared, then here's the second step. It's to go and get prepared. Well, Sharon, I have no idea how to get prepared. Well, that's okay, because I know how to get you ready. Yes, I have a seminary degree and a doctorate in leadership, but I've just been on the Christian journey a little bit longer. You're my younger brother or sister in Christ. That's how I see you, and I care about you. I'll show you the way, just like others showed me the way. And I don't claim to have all the answers, but I know I can point you in the right direction. And the guests who will be on this podcast, they'll show you the way too. They want to see you succeed in your Christian walk. So if you're ready to get ready, hit the subscribe button on this podcast. I drop episodes bi-weekly, but I'll also drop bonus episodes that you won't want to miss. You can also visit BeThe25.com for the podcast, the blog, the YouTube channel, additional resources that will help you, and links to social media. It's a great way to connect with a supportive community who will walk alongside you on the faith journey. You see, it takes the help of others, people who have gone before you, who have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the warnings to help you succeed. I have high hopes for you. You have what it takes because you have Him, Jesus. He believes in you like no one else. He sees your doubts, your fears, your concerns, your dreams. He loves you. He wants the very best for you. He has the very best for you, and He expects the very best from you. Let's give Him our best. Let's get our faith ready. Let's be the 25.